Hi, YouTube. Hello, good to see you guys again, and welcome to another stream. It's been a while since I've streamed with you guys, but I feel like it's only right today to do the soccer recap, well, international break recap on stream. And I mean, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Hopefully, you guys on YouTube enjoy this, and I'm not gonna stop wasting your time here. Let's just dive straight into it. And today we have, of course, Africa to go over again, Concacaf, Gold Cup briefly, because I've talked about it for freaking 4 or 5 episodes. I don't know how many episodes I talked about it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, and of course we have UEFA, which we have that, the Nations League, and Euros qualifying to discuss. So, how's the audio chat? Gans, help me out here, buddy. You can hear me? Cool. Thanks, Gans. Shout out to Gans, everyone in the chat. Leave a like for Gans, just because. Or comment Gans, just because. I don't know. I don't know what else you want me to comment. But today, we'll start in Africa. And the last time we talked about Africa, we're going to go group by group. And Group A, of course, we have Nigeria, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, and of course, Sao Tome and Principe. Of course, you know this group. The only reason you know this group is because Nigeria beat Sao Tome and Principe 10-0 on the road. And going into this matchup, Guinea-Bissau needed a win, and then Sierra Leone dropped points to Nigeria in order to go through to the actual tournament. And Guinea-Bissau settled this one late. A 55th minute goal by Gano, I assume that's how you say it, sealed the deal for Guinea-Bissau, and Guinea-Bissau will go to another Africa Cup of Nations. I believe it's going to be their third or fourth appearance. I actually do not know. Let's take a quick look at their history, but they they've qualified a lot for the World Cup, but this will be their fourth consecutive. It is their fourth consecutive Africa Cup of Nations. So good for Guinea-Bissau. Hopefully they'll do better than last time they were there, which they only got 1 point and drew. I don't even remember who they drew, honestly. They did have one draw on the last day, and they got 1 point. So hopefully they could have a better showing when the draw comes around in a couple of months. Group B, we'll head to next, and this if you knew Africa at all, you knew this was going to be a complete wash, and it was, as Burkina Faso and Cape Verde have both sealed their qualification deals, as Cape Verde did beat Burkina Faso, but because Burkina Faso already had 10 points, they were through, and Togo not really putting on much of a fight, unfortunately, as Togo will finish in third, despite in World Cup qualifying, finishing second in their group behind the Senegalese national team. But I mean, when you can't get results against Eswatini, you don't deserve to be in the Africa Cup of Nations. I'm sorry, but quickly moving along to Group C. Of course, if you don't remember, Kenya got disqualified for like governmental corruption or something like that. I don't know the full story. So we had Namibia, Cameroon, and Burundi, and we had. So of course, there's one match in the group. It was Burundi and Namibia. And Burundi have made this really interesting because I thought Namibia was going to win. You know, they drew each other the first time, and going on the road in a match that you needed to win, Namibia would get it done. They didn't, and now this group will be settled on the final day as Cameroon will now need to earn points against Burundi. So a winner or draw for Cameroon will put them into the Africa Cup of Nations. But man, this could get really interesting. Imagine if Cameroon lose, you wouldn't see Cameroon in an Africa Cup of Nations after one that they hosted last time. And that was even more corrupted how they got to host a damn thing. But on top of that, you have the second best national team I think in Africa. You're not going to be in this tournament. That'll be really shocking. But this is on the Namibia. Wow, these names are hard to say because they had a chance to get it done. And when you go down 3-0 within 20 minutes, and yeah, granted they put a good fight back up, but this match is actually played in Tanzania. I don't know why, but Namibia can get it done. And now this group will be settled in a couple of months, I believe in September. So that'll be a fun thing to watch out for. Group D turned into a total wash as expected. Egypt and Guinea have qualified after Malawi and Ethiopia decided to not do anything and get a battle out of nil-nil draw. I mean, this is on. I thought Malawi, after making it to the quarterfinals of the previous Africa Cup of Nations, at least put up a fight against Guinea and Egypt, and they really didn't. Malawi beat Ethiopia, then lost to Guinea, and then lost 4-0 to Egypt. Now you've drawn Ethiopia. Now you play Guinea again. It's been disappointing from Malawi, but you can argue that they didn't really have a chance to begin with because Guinea and Egypt are top 5 national teams in Africa, and they're kind of screwed off the bat. But listen, if you have a tough pot 2 team and you're a team pot number 3, then you're kind of screwed off the bat because every pot 1 team should be able to make this tournament. And every pot 2 team should realistically make it as well. But yeah, Malawi got kind of screwed. Know who didn't really get screwed? The freaking no one really got screwed in this group. Group E, we have Ghana, Angola, and the Central African Republic. My boys from Central African Republic, I thought had a chance. Yeah, they had a chance to clinch their qualification and folded. Rather predictably folded. And because this is totally how the Central African Republic would want to do this. You go over to a match that you need to win, you go down early, and then you concede a goal in the 86th minute. This is such an African way to do this. Not a racist comment, because this is how every Africa match seems to be settled in the 85th minute or later. I'm not kidding. Know why? Because Ghana played Angola in March, and Ghana won 1-0 on a 96th minute goal. This is the trend, and I love it. But all these matches love to be settled. Like Ghana and Madagascar drew, which really didn't help Ghana at all because Ghana now has to play the Central African Republic in September. Angola has a gift finish because if Angola can actually get points again, Angola needs a win or a draw. And if Ghana loses and Angola wins by multiple goals and Central African Republic win, it's possible that Ghana could get knocked out of this tournament qualifying as well, which is unfathomable because you could not expect the Ghanaian national team, a team that made the World Cup, to be knocked out of their own continental tournament. It's like hearing about freaking Serbia in Europe, which we're going to get to them later because they've had an interesting start as well, positive or negative. If you can wait to find out. But man, Ghana's making this really hard for themselves. Or the Black Stars, and I thought this would be a gift for the Central African Republic, and it's not, which is crazy to me. Because the Central African Republic have been able to beat a team like Nigeria just I think around 8 months ago. No, almost over a year ago now, they beat Nigeria. So they still probably have the quality to beat a team like Nigeria, but man, they're really going to have to go out and prove themselves now against a team like Ghana. Group F, we had, of course, Algeria, Tanzania, Uganda, Niger. Of course, you had to expect Algeria to go through. They beat Uganda 2-1, courtesy of goals by Amora. But you know who made a statement this window? Tanzania. And thank goodness they made a statement because you knew Uganda was going to lose. But this now sets up a situation where if Tanzania lost that match, the Tanzania would not have a chance to go through. Tanzania, with a win or a draw, or Uganda not winning by multiple goals, and of course Tanzania not conceding multiple goals, have put themselves in the driver's seat for the number 2 spot in the group. Granted, Algeria, you knew was going to win it. They have 15 points with a +7 goal difference in 5 games, which is actually not as much as I thought it would be. But still, Algeria, you knew they were going through. Niger, next question. But Uganda have weirdly put up a fight. I mean, let's look at what Uganda has done. Uganda lost to Algeria, then drew Niger, lost to Tanzania, and then beat Tanzania on a 91st minute goal back in March. Now you go out and lose to Algeria, and now you have to beat Niger on the road to have any form of a chance. It's not easy to play on the road anywhere. which makes some of the other results that I've talked about even more impressive. So Uganda plays Niger, and of course Algeria plays Tanzania too. And Tanzania, of course, gets a point. It's already over, but man, that group will be settled very interestingly in September. Moving right along, we have more groups than I thought left. We're gonna head over to Group G, and of course, you had to have known Mali with their talent was gonna go through. But the matchups to watch was the Gambia and South Sudan. And I was able to watch this match, the end of this match. And I said earlier that these matches love to be settled late. Let's just talk you through what happened on America's Flag Day. Because this, if you watch it over, was probably the match of the day for the start of the groups. And the Gambia won. So the Gambia went up on an own goal. It was a terrible own goal. South Sudan strike back. Then the Gambia scores in the 62nd minute. And then a great goal from Chol of South Sudan equalizes and gives South Sudan a chance, despite South Sudan being eliminated already. And then Bari from the Gambia gets a 96th-minute winner. And now the Gambia have put themselves in prime position to get out of this thing because the Gambia are playing the Congo, who lost to Mali. So that's going to have a winner take all aspect as well, because if the Gambia get at least a point, the Gambia are going to play for a draw. That's what a lot of these African countries like to do in matches like this: is park the park the bus, play like 8 at the back or something stupid like that, or more like a 5-4-1, and just park the bus and play for your draw and move on. Because the Congo are going to have to come out firing, and that's just the way that it is. But man, what a turn of events from the Gambia. The Gambia got that crucial result against Mali in March to really give themselves a fighting chance, because they lost to Mali and then beat Mali to give themselves a fighting chance. And then they go out and beat South Sudan on the road, which, granted, South Sudan sounds kind of bad. I think it's who South Sudan beat, because they had to have won a match somewhere, because they are on 3 points. They did get a win. I'm trying to find it. South Sudan beat the Congo on the road. So South Sudan's not a pushover. I mean, granted, may have lost some very tight game. They've lost a lot of tight games. Like March 27th, they've lost to the Congo on a 90th minute winner for the Congo in Tanzania. So it's a very unfortunate turn of events with South Sudan. But man, the Gambia are going to be in the driver's seat. I cannot wait to see how that group ends, because, of course, you don't know, the Gambia are just essentially the banks of a river above Senegal, essentially. So I believe that's where it is. But man, what a turn of events. And a lot of positive momentum. But there was heartbreak in Group H, because I was rooting for the Comoros Islands. And Comoros needed Zambia to lose to have any form of a chance to move on. And Zambia went out and won 3-0 against Ivory Coast to just seal all the hope that they had. And the Comoros got a win. Of course, it was in the 90th minute by a man named Changama. I think that's how you say it. Changama? I don't know. I don't know what language they speak in Comoros, but Comoros got a result. And despite having 6 points, they have no chance to make it out of this group. Fun fact, there's only one draw in this whole group, and that was Lesotho drawing Ivory Coast, which a little bit of a red flag there from Ivory Coast. But Zambia and Ivory Coast are going to be through, the two best teams in the group. I mean, they deserve to be through, but man, heartbreak for Comoros, who made the last 16 last time after beating Ghana. Remember, last time this tournament was held, Algeria didn't make the knockouts and Ghana didn't make the knockouts. Algeria is at least automatically coming back. What, Ghana? We don't know yet. That'll have to be settled in March. Moving on, we have the group of chaos. And going into this, for those who don't know, we have the group of the DR Congo, Gabon, Mauritania, and Sudan. And the road teams were the victorious ones. And I talked about Mauritania. I really liked Mauritania. And guess what? Mauritania went out and won in Morocco to give themselves a fighting chance, because Mauritania and Gabon, which used to be the country known for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, he retired, and now there will be a winner take all match in September again between Mauritania and Gabon. I did not expect to be saying this, but Mauritania have a very good chance to beat Gabon because last time these two played, we got to find it. They played at a 0-0 draw. If Mauritania can get that draw, they are through on goal difference. Gabon needs to win by multiple, it's a winner go home matchup. But Sudan, don't count out Sudan because if Sudan beats the DR Congo, then the DR Congo, granted, they have a great goal difference, so we advantage DR Congo over anybody, but no one's safe. No one's out. No one's in. And Group I will be the group to watch out for, I think, for the rest of this because no one's out yet. They are the only group with no one eliminated and no one clinched. So should be a fun path to the finish, but know who won't have a fun path to the finish? Group J, because this is already over as Equatorial Guinea and Tunisia, which these two find a way to always want to have to play each other, are both through. Equatorial Guinea beat Tunisia, and then Libya to have any form of a chance. Actually, no, this group is already over. What am I saying? This group is already over because Libya, I mean, in the consolation game, Botswana, shout out to Botswana, won at home in Francistown. Yes, you are hearing this right. In Francistown, Botswana, Botswana went out and beat Libya in the most useless match on the face of the earth. One of the most useless matches. This Equatorial Guinea did get a win at home against Tunisia after Tunisia won in Tunisia 4-0 last year. But man, what heartbreak for that whole group because that was already sealed away. Two groups to go. We start off with Group K, and this one was very predictable. I'm not going to go into it very much. South Africa and Morocco are going to go through. South Africa, I don't believe. No, they were not in the 2021 or 2022, edition of this tournament. So welcome back, South Africa and Morocco. Put up a very good chance. They should be one of the favorites to make it out and have a good chance to win the whole competition in about, I don't know, 6 months time. I think is when this tournament is. But Group L will catch the hearts of many because Benin and Mozambique were the teams fighting for that second position. Remember, Senegal washed the group. They were going through. We all knew that. And of course, Rwanda were already out of it. And the only way that Benin had a chance was, or really, and either of them had Benin had a chance was Benin to not lose. And what did Benin do? They didn't lose. They went out and drew. They went out and drew Senegal off a 78th minute equalizer from Momini, and 2 goals. That second goal was very crucial because, I mean, that sets up a winner take all game. Where is this match being played? Doesn't even know where the match is. It'll be Mozambique against Benin, and that'll be another fun one to watch for sure. Granted, Benin beat Rwanda 3-0 last time, so Benin has been in a good run of form. They got 4 points, 5 points out of their last 2 matches, but really hurtful draw that Benin drew Rwanda twice, or Benin drew Rwanda and then beat Rwanda right afterwards. Because if Benin didn't draw Rwanda, Benin would be in a much better spot. They would be on, think about it, add a couple points. They'd be on like 8 points, tied or ahead of Mozambique. So they would only have to get a draw, but now they have to earn 3 points against a somehow decent Mozambique team. So a lot to watch out for in September because, I mean, of course, Senegal's already through, but let's just talk about the teams that are already through because there's a good amount of teams already through to this thing. Remember, it's 24 teams are into this tournament, and the qualified teams, I'll just name them out for you real quick. We have Ivory Coast, Morocco, Algeria, South Africa, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Tunisia, Egypt, Zambia, Equatorial Guinea, Nigeria, Guinea-Bissau, Cape Verde, Mali, and Guinea. So, should be really fun as this tournament. I actually don't know where this tournament's set to be hosted. Am I a failure for that? Chat? I don't know. We'll figure it out, but Africa Cup of Nations ends in September. No, it doesn't end in September. The Euros qualifying because we're going there next. Because I'm leaving the Nations League for last, and we'll go into the actual chaos of UEFA, and we'll start in Group A, which is Scotland, Georgia, Norway, Spain, and Cyprus. Spain didn't play a match, and we all knew that because of the Nations League, and so they'll play in every window remaining for the whole group stage portion for the next, I don't know, this thing ends in 2020. Actually, this ends this November, excuse me. So a lot to play for. And we'll begin with these matches as these matches were on the 17th and the 20th of June. And we had Scotland just win every match. They went to Oslo, Norway, and beat Holland 2-1. So the fighting Holland and Odegaards fall to Scotland 2-1, courtesy of two late goals by Dykes and McLean in the 87th and 89th minute to stun the Norwegians. And I'll just say it now, Scotland beat the fighting Georgians 2-0 at Hampden Park to have a raucous 12 points through 4 matches, putting themselves in the driver's seat. Because remember, they've already assured themselves a playoff spot via the Nations League. So what a start from the Scots. But the Georgians, hold on a minute. Georgia have put themselves in second. Granted, Spain has 2 matches a hand over everybody, I believe. Yeah, they have only 1 match down to Georgia. But Georgia went out and beat Cyprus and, of course, had the heartbreaking loss to Scotland. The Norwegians beat Cyprus and, of course, lost to the Scots as well. And this will set up a table that looks like Scotland and Georgia and the head of Norway on goal difference. Spain, who have only played 2 matches, and then Cyprus, we knew they were going to be the laughing stock of this group. But September will have these matches as Georgia will play Spain in Tbilisi, Georgia. We have Cyprus at the AEK Arena hosting the Scots. And then in September 12th, we have Norway and Georgia. I think that's going to be the match to watch in the upcoming window in September. I'll talk about more of that window later on. But Norway and Georgia will be a very tough matchup for anyone. Will the Fighting Kvartskelias go out and actually win a match that they actually need to win? Group B, France, Ireland, Greece, the Netherlands, and Gibraltar. This group is getting weird because we have, of course, France beating Gibraltar and the Greeks just beating Ireland. Now, granted, I thought the Irish are going to throw up a fight, but a goal in the 49th minute, the winner from Masuras, I probably butchered that, but Crimea River, as the Greeks, who then lost to the French, and then Ireland, of course. Gibraltar is terrible. We all knew that, but the Greeks, through their first 3 matches, have 6 points. The Greeks have beat Gibraltar. You go out and then you had the off. Then you beat Ireland, and then you lost to the French. Next window, you'll have the Dutch, and then Gibraltar again. So more points could be on the table for the Georgian national team, especially with the way Netherlands have been playing. I don't know about the Netherlands right now, but September will be very interesting because the seasons will have started. Maybe the players are more fit, more consistent, because when we saw the Netherlands last was the end of the year. So who knows? I mean, I predicted the Netherlands to win the Nations League, and they didn't win it. So we'll talk about that later. But the Irish making this really hard for themselves. Granted, they started off by losing to France. Then you lost to Greece and Athens, which is unfortunate. Then you go and beat Gibraltar. Then you play France again. And then you go play the Netherlands. So really tough stretch for the Irish here. But if there's any time the Irish will have to do anything, it'll have to be late, because in October, of course, you get Greece again. They get Gibraltar again, and then the Netherlands. So man, really tough break for Ireland. I'm interested to see how they play out the rest of that group. But right now, you have to expect France is going to be through. But I'm really interested to see, because that second spot's really up for grabs between all 3 of those teams. I love to see that. Group C, you have England running away with it, as predicted. They have beaten the team that beat Italy in North Macedonia 7-0. They beat Malta 4-0, which raises the question: how did you beat Malta less than how you beat North Macedonia? That's a question and a half. But Ukraine barely beating Malta, and then Ukraine barely beat North Macedonia. I don't know what to think of the Ukraines right now because, granted, one of them's on the road, but Ukraine is in second ahead of Italy, who've only played 2 matches. England, you already knew we were going to be through, but I'm really concerned for Ukraine and North Macedonia. I don't think if North Macedonia loses to Italy by as much as they lost to England, North Macedonia has no chance. Zero. Nada. But Ukraine, I think they're going to finish and have to finish in third now because Italy, I think Italy starts it off playing North Macedonia in North Macedonia, and then Italy will play Ukraine. North Macedonia then gets Malta, and then Ukraine in October. A lot of international ball to be upcoming, and maybe I'll do a video previewing the September, October, and November. I don't know what I'm going to do for that yet, but yeah, a lot of interesting stretches for a couple of these teams, and you have to now imagine Italy and England really run away with this group, despite there's being some quality in this group at the end of the day. Group D has taken a turn that I didn't think it would take. And you're probably asking, Robbie, what the heck do you mean? We start this off with Wales just losing to Armenia, which is inexplicable because that match was in Cardiff. But I mean, you go down, Wales went up 1-0, and then Armenia rattles off 3 straight goals. Then Wales scores in the 72nd, and then Armenia, led by Zella Ryan, who's had 2 goals, and Renos had 2 goals, sealed the deal. And Armenia gets a very important road win over Wales 4-2. And then Turkey beat Latvia. We all knew that was going to happen. But what I love about this is how late this match was settled. Latvia goes down 2-1 and then scores in the 94th and then concedes like 60 seconds later, which is great. Then we had Armenia beat Latvia courtesy of a 91st minute penalty from, I'll give this one a shot here, Barsagian. I think that was a pretty good effort, but Turkey beat Wales and Samson. So really, Wales is kicking themselves for not going out and playing better against freaking Armenia. But what can you do when Armenia, whose only losses to Turkey, they're in second, and they get Turkey again out of the way early, but they haven't played Croatia yet. And Croatia, of course, is the other team to watch out for. They've played 2 matches and have gotten points in both of them. Because they started off by drawing Wales in Split. I'm not kidding you. This place is called Split at Stadion Poljud in Split. Research it. As Wales got a 93rd winner, that was back in March. And then they went out and beat Turkey. So this group should be more concerned because Armenia is rising, Wales is falling, and Croatia's only played 2 matches. What will this group look like at the end of September? Because granted, Croatia, they play Latvia, which should be a wash, and they play Armenia, which could possibly be a wash. But that match will be the test of how good Armenia actually is. Armenia has a very tough window upcoming in September, and I'll preview it more later on. But they get Turkey on the road, and then they're home against Croatia. Should be very interesting on how Armenia will prove their legitimacy if they can get multiple points total from those 2 matches. Moving right along down the list, we have Group E, and this group has also gotten really, really weird because, of course, you have Czechia, unsurprisingly, look pretty good, though Czechia has beaten Poland and drawn Moldova. Then Czechia beat the Faroe Islands and were off their next match. So Czechia in 3 matches has 7 points. Behind them, weirdly enough, Albania, who lost to Poland, then beat Moldova and beat the Faroe Islands. Granted, if Moldova can draw Czechia, 2 things. One, either it's really hard to play in Moldova or Moldova's kind of decent, but 2 second half goals from Albania got the job done. And Then they went out had to go out and get their level at the half with the freaking Faroe Islands, which I don't even know where they are. And I'm a history guy. I'm a geographics guy, and I don't know where the freaking Faroe Islands are. But Moldova got a crucial result as Poland looks really, really bad. Poland has beaten Albania, lost to Czechia, and then lost to Moldova, putting themselves highly at risk of missing this tournament. They're 3 points back of Albania, and listen, this group's really up for grabs other than the Faroe Islands. But you have to Czechia's talent and how much talent that this team has. I mean, they were the best team in this group, I thought, going in, but Poland was not right behind, not that far behind. This has really proven that idea wrong because Moldova and Albania have really proven themselves. Albania, especially, because granted, Albania's only lost to Poland, but Albania is in a spot where if you can go out and get 4 points, and especially if you go into Prague and win, Albania will really prove their legitimacy because after those two matches, Albania is clear of any like legitimate test other than Moldova away in Chisinau. I think I said that right. So it's very intriguing the scenario that Albania is in because Albania has some quality. They've made the Euros in 2016. The question will be, could they put it all together? And listen, I think Albania can possibly do it, but man, if you go out and get points in Warsaw, and they lost in Warsaw already. If you can go out and get points at home in Tirana, and then you go out and get points in Prague, you deserve to be in this tournament because they don't have a hard opponent left afterwards. Will they choke it like somehow we saw some of the African teams do it, or will they prove their legitimacy and get the job done? Really fun start from Albania, though. I was not expecting that at all. Moving down the line, you have Group F is next. And what the hell are we talking about here? Because we have Austria, the team that has notoriously been known for underachieving in anything possible, ahead of Belgium. Let's look at what Belgium's done because I'm very intrigued. Belgium beat Sweden, then drew Austria, and then beat Estonia. So you go down in Brussels to Austria, and then Lukaku, or Lakaka, as some like to call him now, for his eternal meme status, they get a result against Austria. So Belgium's next matchups, they have Azerbaijan and Estonia. So Belgium's going to be in first. At the end of this window, because Austria plays Sweden in Solna, and I have to imagine Sweden gets their revenge after after conceding 2 goals in the 80th minute or later in Vienna, Austria. So this is not even close to over for Sweden, Austria, and Belgium. This fight's going to go right down to the wire. And the reason I say that is because it's Sweden and Belgium play each other in October. Austria and Belgium play each other in October. So that window is going to be absolute madness. And then you have Sweden and Austria on September 12th in Solna. So there's some very crucial matchups remaining, but November's really where I think it's going to prove themselves because Austria has one match in November, so they're going to need to get points in their upcoming matches, that's for sure. Because if you go out and find a way to drop points away to Estonia, then later on in the group, it's going to be very interesting to see how everything else plays out. Because Belgium, you have to imagine, gets this done. But the real question will be, how convincingly will they actually do this? And will Sweden or Austria get through? Will the Scandinavian side of the Swedes get through, led by Alexander Isak, or will Christian Baumgartner and the Austrians get through? Who do I think is going to get through? It's going to be Sweden. It's going to be Sweden. Sweden has much more talent than Austria. It's got to be the Swedes. And I hate to say because I like Austria. I think they're doing well, but man, they have had an interesting start. I was not expecting that. Who also has had an interesting start? Hungary. And I like the Hungarian national team. in Group G. Remember, last time we had this tournament, they were thrown in that group of death. I don't even remember what they had. 3 powerhouses in their group. They had Portugal. They had some other good sides, and they were actually really competent. Hungary has gone out and beat Bulgaria. Then, unfortunately, drew Montenegro. Then you go out and beat Lithuania, which is not that impressive, but you had 58,000 people go at that match. That alone's impressive. So Hungary has proven themselves in the. By the way, the arena is called the Puskas Arena, which for those that don't know, the Puskas Awards like for the best goal of the year. Hungary has not played a legitimate opponent yet. Maybe you can count Montenegro a legitimate opponent, but Hungary is yet to play Serbia, who drew away to Bulgaria in Razgrad. Okay. I mean, they had to get a 96th minute goal to equalize, courtesy of Lazovic. Serbia beat Montenegro away and then beat Lithuania. And the window opens with Serbia, Hungary, and Belgrade. So if you've not watched a Serbian fan base before, please do it. And my club to recommend for that is Red Star. Red Star, but like the best derby, I think like Thogden, if you know his YouTube channel. He did a video there, I think last year. Those crowds are absolutely ridiculous. So if it's anything like I've seen in that video, this will be absolutely crazy. Then Serbia plays Lithuania. Hungary only plays one match in September. Then they have to play each other again in Budapest. So that matchup, if Hungary can get points in that matchup in Serbia and then win in Budapest, Hungary's going to win this group. It's really going to come down to will Montenegro give themselves a chance. Lithuania has gotten 1 point. Bulgaria has gotten 2 draws. So they're really out of the picture. It's really going to come down to Hungary, Serbia, Montenegro. You have to back the Hungarians and the Serbs to get out of this group easily, more comfortably than you'll think. This should be one of the easier groups. I think so, at least. But Group H is a lot of fun as well. There's a lot of fun groups in this. I love this. And we'll start with my boys from Kazakhstan, because last time we talked about Kazakhstan, they lost to Slovenia, then had that really big comeback against Denmark in my preview and what I talked about them. Kazakhstan went to San Marino and beat San Marino. Then they went to Belfast and beat Northern Ireland. Okay, Kazakhstan, I see you. I mean, they went out and beat Northern Ireland, deserved it too. They got an 88th minute winner, courtesy of Ayam Betov in Belfast, and they got a 1-0 win. Finland beat San Marino and then beat Slovenia, and then Slovenia and Denmark. Denmark's been really disappointing, but they actually were able to get points in this window, courtesy of a draw and a win. So it's Finland, then Kazakhstan, who've already at least made the playoff due to the Nations League. Then we have Denmark, Slovenia, who's really made themselves competitive after that win in Astana back last March against Kazakhstan is going to be very crucial. Why? Because Slovenia had their couple of wins against San Marino and then away to Kazakhstan. So Kazakhstan's looked kind of competent. And man, if Kazakhstan opens with Finland, which that will be the match to watch, or wait, it's not, because Finland and Denmark play each other in Helsinki. I can't say that one. It's really big tongue twister, that one. But in Helsinki Olympic Stadium, that's close enough. Then we have San Marino just being there. They go to Astana again, Kazakhstan and Northern Ireland. I think Northern Ireland may be able to get some revenge. I mean, we've seen Northern Ireland look good in Belfast against teams like Italy and throw up good fights, but Kazakhstan getting that result against Northern Ireland will be more crucial than you think in the end, because Kazakhstan in this window, they get Finland and Northern Ireland at home. If they can get 4 to 6 points, Kazakhstan will be very easily through to the main draw, because they finish with the only tough matchup I see them having. They have a couple of tough matchups. I mean, you have Finland and Denmark away, but they end with San Marino and Slovenia. So this group is wide open. I mean, I think there's 4 teams. Of course, you've Finland and Kazakhstan, but Denmark and Slovenia, I think, can still make a run for it. Northern Ireland, you never know. 2 groups left. You have Group I, and Switzerland has rather predictably made this somewhat comfortable for themselves. Of course, last time we talked, they beat Belarus and they beat Israel, and they beat Andorra and drew Romania. After going up 2 goals in the first half, they conceded goals in the 89th and 92nd minute to draw Romania, to bring them back to the pack, as Israel, who I didn't expect to do anything, rattled off two crucial wins in this window, beating Belarus and Andorra, putting themselves as somewhat legitimate contenders. Granted, they open in Bucharest against Romania, and then they host Belarus in Tel Aviv. So there's Israel's in a weird spot because they lost to Switzerland, then they drew Kosovo, then lost to Switzerland, then beat Belarus, then beat Andorra. I mean, Kosovo has been weird as well. I just have to mention this. They've drawn 3 matches out of their first 4 and they've lost 1 match. They drew Israel, then they drew Andorra, and then they drew Romania, and then lost to Belarus. So I don't really know how good this Kosovo team is, but let me find how many goals they've scored. Kosovo has scored 3 goals in 4 matches and yet haven't looked that bad. They have a negative 1 goal difference. Belarus is a negative 6 and they're equal with them. So take what you will from that information. But Switzerland, rather predictably, is in first. Rather uncomfortably ahead of Romania. So I really don't know what to think about this Romanian team because they can go out and beat these decent mid-table teams and then absolutely crap the bed against Kosovo. So I don't know. This group's really funky, but man, the Swiss are you have to back them to get out of it. They're that too good of a team not to make it out. Final group, and we have some really small countries here, and Iceland. Kicking it off, we had the aforementioned Icelandic national team go to Liechtenstein and beat them 7-0. Liechtenstein, by the way, has 0 points with a negative 14 goal difference. That is the worst in the group stage, I believe. Then you had Portugal beat Luxembourg 6-0. This is back in March. Now to the real results. We had Luxembourg beating Liechtenstein 2-0. And then Luxembourg won again. Luxembourg have put themselves in a competitive position. I never thought I'd be saying that out loud. Luxembourg have rattled off back-to-back wins after losing to Portugal 6-0 and drawing Slovakia to beating Liechtenstein, which is not that crazy, but they went away to Bosnia and beat Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is impressive. Other results to watch out for: Slovakia beat the Icelandic national team 2-1, and Portugal beat Bosnia, courtesy of goals by Bernardo Silva and Bruno Fernandes, to win 3-0 in Lisbon. And then Portugal, courtesy of CR7, it's really tongue twister everything today, got the win against Iceland. And then Slovakia, courtesy of a 45th minute goal from Vavaro, won in Liechtenstein. So the standings will be Portugal in first with 12 points with a plus 14 goal difference. They're going to be through because of their goal difference. You have Slovakia, and then you rather uncomfortably barely ahead of Luxembourg. So looking ahead at the next window, just a little bit of a preview. Luxembourg opens with Iceland, and then they play Portugal. So if you get points against Iceland, I mean, Slovakia opens with Portugal and then plays Liechtenstein. So I think if Luxembourg goes out and wins, then it'll be a 3-point gap heading into October. And then even looking more ahead, Luxembourg gets Iceland. Then they play Slovakia again. So that matchup in October with Slovakia could be the match that determines how this whole group ends out. Because you have to back Portugal getting through. Luxembourg's not going to make this easy for anybody. I mean, clearly they're in third. I mean, they've rattled off back-to-back wins. They beat Bosnia, and they beat Liechtenstein. But this group has gotten really weird. I don't know what to predict. You have to back probably Portugal and maybe even Slovakia, but don't be surprised if Luxembourg makes some noise, because this group has been a lot of fun as well. There's a lot of fun groups in Europe. I like how it's better than Africa. There's no total washes. There have been some washes, but in some regards, but man, it's a lot of fun to talk about with Europe. But we also I briefly discussed the Nations League again. Spain won the Nations League, beating Croatia on penalties. We already talked about this a little bit, but I'll just give a quick rundown. Italy got third. Really disappointing from the Netherlands hosting the thing and they finishing in fourth. So home field advantage in Europe really, in this regard, has proven to be an absolute fluke. I mean, ask the Netherlands going out and scoring 4 goals and yet conceding 7 at home twice. You lose in Rotterdam to Croatia 4-2 in extra time, and you go on and you lose to Italy. So, granted, the Italian match. Well, let's look at the Italian match. because I actually never really got to go into this game very much. We had goals from, I actually don't know. The winner was from, I mean, Italy went up 2-0. Then it was 2-1, and then a goal by Federica Chiesa made it 3-1, and then Gigi Wijnaldum scored to make it 3-2, and then Netherlands just ran out of time. But very frustrating from the Netherlands because they have so much quality out on the field. I think they have a better manager than Italy. Granted, Netherlands actually made the World Cup, but very frustrating for the Netherlands. And I'm very interested to see how this looks for them in the future. And of course, you had Spain winning it all. They deserved the win. They were the best team on roster wise on the field. They have the most talent on the field. And that usually supports the idea that you deserve to go out and win the freaking thing. But in soccer, you don't. That doesn't always happen. I mean, Italy got lost to North Macedonia in World Cup qualification. Italy was behind teams such as they're behind Switzerland. I think it's what it was. And Portugal is behind Serbia. So this whole matter of the best team should go through, the best team should get out of these groups easily is a total false. Ask Portugal and Italy how that went for them in the World Cup. Ask how that went. Briefly going to discuss the Gold Cup. For those who don't know, Mexico won it. My prediction was USA Canada in the final. That was totally wrong. So, yeah, I mean, we've already discussed this tournament multiple times. Just a quick debrief. The surprises, we'll give you 3 surprises and 3 failures. The surprising teams from this, you have to look at Guadeloupe, Guatemala, and actually, I'll give it to him. I'll give it to Honduras. Because Honduras actually put up a good fight. Granted, they drew Haiti. Actually, they drew Qatar and beat Haiti and lost Mexico to Mexico 4-0. But Honduras were not bad. Neither was Guadeloupe and Guatemala. Guadeloupe had one of their players had the goal of the tournament for me. So you could have saw them as a very good, exciting team in the future. Because remember, World Cup qualifying basically be World Cup Central America in 2020, starting I believe in 2024, 2025. I don't know the exact format yet, but yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, imagining teams like Guadeloupe and Jamaica or El Salvador playing like Guatemala for a spot in the World Cup final qualifying round, something just small like that really intrigues me. I cannot wait to see how that plays out. But time for your disappointments. And you can't start this thing without mentioning El Salvador, who got 2 points and drew Panama and Costa Rica and lost to Martinique. I'm not talking about them again. Your next disappointment, I mean, Cuba. I was really high on Cuba. I don't know why. I mean, I didn't really know much about Guatemala and Guadeloupe, but 0 points with a -6 goal difference. One of, I think, the tied for second worst goal difference in the whole tournament. But of course, you can't top St. Kitts. They didn't score a goal, which I felt very bad about. Hopefully, you'll see St. Kitts back in a couple of years. But my other disappointment is gonna be. I was thinking about this one because do I go with the United States because they didn't make the final? I'm not. I'm going Qatar. And Qatar, I was very high on them. I don't know why. They got ran off the field against Panama, a team that had going out in the group stage. So if you look back at this match one more time, the stats justify it. 62 game outpossessed, totally outshot. One shot on target against Panama. That's concerning enough, but I mean, that's very unfortunate for a Qatar team that hosted the World Cup and looked really bad at the World Cup. I think they're going to start that downward slide to irrelevancy in a couple, maybe a couple of months is when they can start heading that way. The moment where I think they'll really become irrelevant is if they do bad in the Asian Cup, which is this December. So a lot to watch out for in the soccering world. But real quickly, there was one transfer that I wanted to talk about before I ended the show today. That was Kylian Mbappe. Now, PSG have accepted a bid from a Saudi Arabian club from this. This is ridiculous. Really think about what I'm about to say here. Mbappe would get paid $750 million for 1 year in Saudi. And he wouldn't even stay there if you really think about it, because he'll head to Real Madrid right afterwards. But PSG have accepted a £300 million bid for Kylian Mbappe. And the reason they're doing this, well, PSG would accept is just to get the money back for what they would try and get for Mbappe. I'm really surprised that PSG accepted 300 million and didn't ask for more to make this a one. I mean, it's already gonna be a $1 billion transfer, which just like think about that real quick. A billion total for Mbappe, which makes sense because of how much talent he has, but like, jeez, it's absolutely wild. Like, think about it. Mbappe is so good that he could be worth in transfer fees and contract $1 billion. I'll leave you off on that thought because I don't think Mbappe is going to do it. He's going to want to leave as a free agent and hold out, kind of like how NFL running backs are going to be. But that's a different discussion with the NFL running backs, their whole situation. And that's where we're gonna have to leave this discussion because we'll talk about them on Friday or another time. Because that is the end of today's stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was so much fun. I'll talk about the upcoming, like other windows, maybe in September. I do have some soccer videos that are set to be filmed, and one will actually be filmed, I believe, in 2 weeks, but it will be posted in September. And of course, there's gonna be another Champions League preview video, the Premier League. What I want you guys to comment down below a punishment for the worst Premier League prediction. Top comment I might use. Me and my guests have an idea, but I'm very intrigued to see what you guys think. But for now, I'm Robbie Basel, and I'll see you guys on Friday. Deuces. And no, I'm not becoming a Man United fan, Gans. I ain't doing it, brother. Arsenal for life. I'll see you guys next time.